I want you guys to, whenever you're watching this, I don't edit much stuff out, and so make sure that you watch through a section first, and don't just start doing what you see me doing. Watch it first, and see how I might make a few mistakes, and then I come back and I figure out the right way and correct myself. So it'll behoove you guys to watch this through, skip around a little bit. You can fast forward and see as I'm still working on the same shot if I've accomplished the goal or not. As I've said, this gun I was learning as I went, and so just go ahead and watch it through first and then come back and use it to help you out. Thanks a lot. Alright, so this is Ortgies or Ortgies, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Ortgies is it. I'm from Arkansas and I live in Tennessee. Go figure. So here's some of the writing on the other side. Alright. So anyways, this one is a 7.65, which is a 32 ACP. And the reason it's in is because it has this back strap safety here. And typically the way you would field this is by, as you grip the gun, you depress this safety, and when you're ready to fire the gun, you pull the trigger. Well, it will not fire in that condition. The only way you can get it to fire right now is by timing it to where you press this safety and the trigger at the same time. Excuse me. Then it will let the sear fall. So we're going to figure out what the problem is. Magazine there. Of course, I've already checked it, and we're going to dig in. So it's a pretty well constructed gun. I've been, any of your European type firearms, they're constructed pretty nicely. Let's resituate here. Alright, so these grips are held on with basically just double-sided tape, it appears here. So I'm not really sure what the deal is there. Like I said, I've never had the opportunity to work on one of these. So it's a new experience for me. Looks like they've got a clip here that holds these panels on, and then panels are supposed to, I guess, glue to the grips. That's new. Old. So get a couple of places here to put my parts in. As they come off. You notice I just used just like a Bondo scraper, but I didn't want to put a metal screwdriver down in there and run the risk of scratching up the finish. Press that. Wow. There we go. That's it. Press that in. Sometimes on coil springs like this, when they're over something, they're kind of locked on. See how that's not wanting to come loose? Don't just pull. Take it and spin it. You can spin it either way a lot of times. Sometimes it'll only spin one way. But twist it to pull it off of there. Don't elongate that spring unnaturally. Elongate the spring unnaturally. Alright, so there's our striker. Got our spring guide, striker spring. Just doing a little inspection. That's a really simple slide, let me tell you. I do like that it's got the external extractor on it. That's nice. I'll zoom in a little bit more here. So that's when you press that button in, it moves that in, and whenever you pull it out, it got it out of that little channel there. So alright, that's strange. The trigger bar goes down the left hand side. Most guns nowadays, the trigger bar goes down the right hand side. Excuse the sniffling. Took the family camping, and we all came back with the sniffles. So we'll see about driving this pin out. You know, I didn't hit very hard. You know, the goal is not to beat the snot out of it. And since we're just learning as we go with it, you just want to be careful, because you don't know what is made to come out and what is not. So I'll hold off on removing that pin, and I'll remove the bottom pin here and go up from there. That came out pretty easy. I just pushed on it. So there we go. I was pressing in on that because that was what releases it. So there we go. Make sure that we're in frame here. I don't want you guys to miss out on it, what I'm doing. I like to try and wipe things down as I go. Saves me time on the tail end, and also keeps me from getting my mat all dirty. So there's our safety, and this is all one piece. So we'll put it out there. Here's our takedown lever and our, I'm not really sure how you would designate this, because it allows your backstrap safety to come into play, but not really sure. Let me look and see what its designation is, what it's actually called. Takedown catch. Hey, that's original. I bet that's called the takedown catch spring. Alright, so then we've got a pin right here, and that's for your magazine release. We don't need to remove that. So I'll see if I peck on this a little, if our trigger bar will come out. We'll drop out of the way. Okay, so it came down and is articulating up. Okay, so it seems like it's kind of stuck in there until I remove the barrel. So the barrel looks like it's going to be a twist out deal here, maybe. Or maybe it just slides to the side. Let's see. Thinking. Looking for barrels. Don't see it. I've got the pin here for the trigger pivot. I don't think that that is part of it, but it might be. Okay, so there's a lug right there that would indicate to me it's keeping that barrel from being able to go to that right side. So maybe I'll take my little polymer piece, see if I can tap this down that way. Are you moving? Yep, we're moving just a little bit. Can you see how we're got a little bit of an angle to it now? See? A little bit of an angle. Well, a lot of an angle now, huh? We've bottomed out. We'll see if we can do it by hand here. Kind of like the Leupold scope rings. There. So that's interesting. I've never seen that type of setup before. Never on anything. Not for the barrel. That's neat. See, guys, I'm a professional gunsmith, and I'm learning right along with you right now. I love it. So now we'll go back to the trigger bar. Now that the barrel's out of the way, the trigger bar will move. Yeah, see, there was a lot more to that trigger bar than just what I could see there. Alright. So the trigger's just got a little stub that comes up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. See down in there? Just a little stub. And so that stub comes up and contacts this trigger bar. Rotates it down. Just checking it all out. And so I've got a Wolf spring set up for it. So let's see what we've got here. They say in this spring set from Wolf, it's service pack type 1, and they don't have anything other than that on it. So let's see here. We've got obviously a mainspring, your recoil spring. Looks like maybe a striker spring and a couple other ones. So I'll look up on the website and double check. This was a customer supplied spring kit. He didn't get it from me. And so I'll have to double check what all we've got here in this one and go from there. So I'll do that and be right back. Okay, I checked on the spring set, and it's the service pack. It's a type 1. Here's basically what the label looks like for it. Service pack type 1, and it contains the following springs to replace weakened or broken springs, returning the pistol to original factory condition. Recoil spring, striker spring, trigger spring, extractor spring, magazine catch spring, takedown catch spring, and disconnector spring. So it is a full revamp setup. So we'll go ahead and do the full teardown on our girl here and go from there. And in case any of you guys don't know, that's a hockey puck that I use there. I like to use the hockey puck. It's kind of soft, and what it is, of course, I just drilled a hole right through the center of it, and it works out real good. So, all kinds of things that you can use without having to buy the whiz-bang tools that are sold on the broader market. Now, there's some things that I say you just can't get by without, like true gunsmith screwdrivers. If you're going to work on guns, you need real gunsmith screwdrivers. It's a must. They're cut different. And it's just one of those things that you just really can't get by without. Now, anytime you guys knock out a pin like that, right now the punch is what's holding that because it's got spring tension on it. So before you jerk that punch out, you want to make sure you have it secured in case the spring's got a lot of pressure on it. Now notice that one pin held two parts in. So it held your magazine catch and your safety, your magazine safety is what I assume that is. And we'll verify that real quick. Grip latch is what they're calling that. So that's, yeah, I don't know, the way they work all these safeties and stuff, I say jerk them all out. But that's just me. So there is the spring for our magazine release. And it appears that it's got a smaller end there. Oh, look, these three are, okay, this one's smaller. These two look identical. So we'll have to figure out what's what on those. There's our slide catch. So let's compare. So the slide catch is longer, so I would assume this shorter one is for the grip safety. That would have to be it. So I'll go ahead and throw that spring over there. So we know the longer one is going to be our takedown spring. So this You know, I'm the type, I like to have it all on film. I don't like to do stuff and then edit out all of my failures or anything that took a whole lot of extra time or something. I want you guys to see that stuff, so you know whenever something takes you extra time to do that it's not just you. So here I'm taking a punch with a nice taper to it, and I'm just going to twist that and run it up on there and see if I can expand that. Look at that. Goes right on now. So now I'll put that with that. Expand that just a little bit. Have to go a little bit more. A little more. I got it. And so I'm going to clean these parts, but I want to get it all matched up. So, I mean, I know this is striker spring. That's a given. Alright. Make sure everything works here. Alright, that's good. Now we've got a teeny tiny one in here. So I'll get a pair of needle nose. And there's a flange right here that I can grab a hold of. Sorry, don't want to make you seasick. So, scoot that down some and get my tips worked in there. It's not going to work, so I'll grab my spring and lift it up. I just took my thumbnail and scraped down on it to get it off of there. I don't have to pull that out, but I was just going to pull it out to clean it, but it's going to be a booger, so we're going to leave it alone. I'll just clean it and put the new spring in. So I'll go ahead and get that spring out of the way. Make sure we're matched up. We are. I know which one it is. So that'll be that. So now I've got two more. They didn't include this spring that I see. So we're going to have our extractor. You like that messy bench, don't you? I know it just, some of you guys, you see that and it just makes you cringe. To all OCD heads out there, I sincerely, truly apologize for the cringe factor that my videos give you. I hope that you can find it in your guts to look past it. Alright. Just don't preach to me. I know. I know. I know. Pins out. Wipe it off. Go ahead and put my thumb over that extractor. Most extractors slide forward a little bit when they come up and out. So there's the little spring for it. So that is quite easy to make that match. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Get rid of that one, and we'll clean this again before we put it in. So now that I know that's where that spring goes, I'm fine. So I've got both these springs, I know where they go, and I'm only missing the one spring that I need to figure out. This one here. So it must be the trigger. Yep. We're sprung there, so that's the trigger spring. So I'll go ahead and get that pin out from the trigger, and then we're going to use Alpha CLP's cleaner on this stuff. My ultrasonic cleaner is down, and I'm going to buy a bigger one, a nicer one, and I just don't have the cash on hand to do it right now. So this stuff's really working well for me. Alpha CLP, their stripper cleaner. Everybody needs some stripper cleaner. That way you can keep your strippers clean. So, I digress. I really don't have anything to follow up that statement with. Good thing my wife doesn't watch all my videos. Says something from my videos, huh? People say to me, does your wife know how you are? I'll be like, well, hell yeah. How do you think she met me? It wasn't for me being an angel, that's for sure. Alright, we got the pin out. And I assume I got real lucky on that one. That spring and detent went straight up and came down and hit me in the neck. Lesson learned. When you move that trigger, that can come out. So I just moved that trigger down and articulated it forward, and it came right out of the trigger well. So you can see down in here. Get this to focus for us. Right down there is where that spring and follower goes. So we know where that spring goes. So how I use this cleaner is, first and foremost, I usually have the same tub that I use for spraying lubrication on stuff, or for cleaning. And this is just, I'll save to-go boxes, like from a restaurant. A lot of times then you've got a decent lid to go with it. Or I'll save from lunch meat, the containers. Just all kinds of stuff. Like you see here, this was like I don't know, a Stouffer's TV dinner or something like that tray. So let me just throw in our parts, and I'm going to go ahead and keep these springs with these parts, just so we know what we've got. And that's our new spring. So I'll wait on doing the slide and the frame so we don't leave this on there too long. Because this can, if you have it mixed, you don't have it diluted down very much, you can cut into some of the bluing with this cleaner. I mean, it's a rare case that you would do it. But as long as you have it diluted properly and you're not letting it sit till it dries or something like that, you're fine. And I don't mean to scare you off from the product by saying that, because I mean that just shows how good of a job it does. It's good stuff. I'm going to try out Rand's stripper cleaner. They're telling me that their product actually gets underneath carbon and dirt and stuff and will lift it. Stuff that you can't scrub off, it's supposed to get underneath it and lift it to where it can wipe clean off. It's a bold statement, and so we're going to put it to the test. And again, you know, this stuff like this alpha, it's biodegradable, it's safe, so you see me working without gloves or anything. I like that. In the meantime, I'm going to straighten up my punch a little. Well, that's the wrong one. Here we go. That one's got a little crooked. Alright. So it's pretty straightforward and simple. I just spray them, and then I'll wipe them down with a cloth, and it works real well. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll come back in a minute. Okay? Let's see if we can't put this thing back together. Back to where we were. So we'll throw our trigger in. I believe that will be this guy here, and our trigger detent. I didn't open it up any yet. A little more. There we go. I may end up having to drop that in after the fact. I'm not sure, because it came out. Yeah, we'll see. We'll go ahead and take our trigger and articulate it up. Then I think I can drop this guy in right here. Okay. I'm looking right down in there, and I can see it. Like Kevin James stand up. I can see the ridges. Talking about dropping a coin down between the seats of your car, trying to get to it. If anybody's seen Kevin James stand up, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's hilarious in stand up. I mean, God, I laugh at him. And fairly clean. I mean, I respect the comedians that do it without being filthy. Sinbad was real good about that. Sinbad was always hilarious and did it while being fairly clean. Okay. There we go. We've got that guy right down in there. So I guess what we'll look into doing here, I'm looking to see if I'm going to need to put the trigger bar in first. We'll go ahead and pin the trigger just with a punch. See, it's kind of got our spring and little spring follower there hemmed up a little bit, but I think we'll be able to get around that. We'll set that to the side for the time being while we install this little guy here. See if I can find my needle nose pliers that I was looking for. Maybe these will do. I think that's got us. Put a little bit of lubricant down in there. I'm going to drop a little Teflon in. A little much. Alright. Okay. Back us off some. Okay, it appears to me that this is going... I wasn't sure if this plunger was held down with this trigger bar or if that plunger went against the frame. And so now I see it does go against the frame. And so we're going to tuck it in. I'm going to put on the safety glasses for this. Dealing with these detents and springs and stuff, it's a sure way to lose an eyeball. maybe a little flathead screwdriver will work a little better. Maybe I can get in there and push it and scoop it on around at the same time. I may have to put this in the vise, and then again I may have to take the trigger loose. Okay, let's try that. Well, maybe it does. After looking at the markings, it looks like it might ride right there. I think it does. Okay. We're cool, we're cool. So maybe we can put this guy in right now. And guys, like I've said, you know, I'm learning right along with you all, so all you trolls that like to preach about what I'm doing wrong, well, of course I'm doing wrong. I'm figuring it out as I go. That's what you got to do whenever you work on all kinds of guns. You can't possibly know them all. You know how you learn them all? By doing them. By not being afraid to just do it. Pardon the 80s phrase there. All right. Okay, we got that trigger swung up in place, and so I'm going to go ahead and secure it. Yeah, I know it's going in from the left hand side. It'll be alright, these pins aren't tapered. As a general rule of thumb, you put most gun stuff in from the right hand side. Now that's not always the case though. Quite often you'll have them on the same gun that alternate, and then sometimes you'll have them on the same gun that all go in from the left. A lot of times there's no rhyme or reason on it. So, we got that secured in there good enough for us to get our trigger bar in. So what we need to do is we're going to get this little guy here pushed over, and that detent's going to ride in between there. Let's see here. Whoa. Alright. We're going to get this pushed over, and that detent's going to ride right in there. Actually, you can see where there's a bevel right there, and so it's going to ride in there. Pretty neat. Another thing that I've not seen done before. I'm trying to do this without having to chuck it up in the vise because it makes it hard for me to film it for you guys once I put it in the vise. And I also know that not everybody's got a vise that they can use. So, you know, like I've said before, I try and do these videos using just stuff I think that the normal person may have around their house or garage or whatever. So that quite often limits me from what I'd have available if I was just doing this as a normal for-hire job. It's wanting to slip past that. So let's see. Looks like I'm going to have to put it in the vise. Alright. And for you, those of you that aren't used to watch my stuff, I use leather. Instead of soft jaws, I use leather that I can remove and situate how I want to. I'm not a big fan of soft jaws. This guy is being a booger. I'll be danged. Alright, let's try a different approach here. Let's get the trigger bar installed and see if we can articulate this trigger up into its spot. Maybe. Feisty, feisty, feisty. Okay. Now, can we push this guy in here? And move. I wonder if that wolf spring is a little long. Maybe that's not the problem. Huh. And I'm being very careful with all my finishes here, so I'm not getting into anything that I'm scratching up or anything like that. Being very careful. Sometimes when you're sitting there behind your computer screen, the angles and things may look one way or another, and you get your holier than thou internet gunsmiths that think that they know all. So, at ease, gentlemen. At ease. What if I were to put something in there to hold that guy? Yes, that's what I'll do. Alright, had to move the camera just a little bit. So we're going to try and put this little firing pin, base of the firing pin down in there to hold this detent down. Maybe. Okay. Watch it shoot that and I'll lose that firing pin. Ha! And I'm going to try and collapse the spring a little bit from the bottom side. I can articulate this trigger forward some. Enough to get a pin in. This can't be the way that this is intended to be put together. Okay. That just went where it was supposed to go. Oh. That just went back where it's not supposed to be. This is pissing me off. Huh. I'm kind of at a loss here as to what the intentions are on this. There. All right. I'm going to go under the assumption that I am incorrect and that this guy, that spring or detent, has to go up into the frame and push against the frame, because this is not working. So, since it's not working, there must be some other explanation. And I believe I just found it. So, let's get you articulated up. For some reason I'm saying articulated a whole lot. What is that, like my new word? I'm from Tennessee and I learned a new big word. Articulate. It's spelled R-T-I-C-U-L-8. Articulate. Are you late? Don't tell me you're late, baby. There we go. Okay. There it is. That's the issue. That was the issue. Alright, so now the rest of this should proceed fairly easily. Get this right into its home. There we go. Okay. Well, I made that a lot harder than it needed to be, didn't I? Alright. Sorry for washing out some of that and being so bright, but in order to see into the shadows and stuff on these dark guns, I got to do that. Alright. got that done. Shall we insert the barrel? Just do this by hand. Check your alignment. Make sure you're in good shape there. Make sure the trigger actuates your trigger bar. And we're going to set it down over here. Okay. So we've got our barrel in, we've got our trigger group set up, and so now let's work on the rest of the stuff here. Rest of these parts. So pull up my schematic and we'll get this guy in here. Remember, it held both of these parts. We've got our new spring already on. And boy, that's tight now. Ooh. Alright. Let's see here. Straighten that up a little. Now we've got a special pin there. That's for the striker. That's right. Alright. We've got our back strap here. We'll run this guy up. And let it click right down there. So our magazine release is kind of interfering. So let's see what we can do here. Because see, this has got to get down to where we can. There we go. Just had to get that past our trigger bar. So there we go. Got to wiggle it a little bit. That is all. You see you wiggle it just a little bit. Sorry, had a 90s flashback there. So, how many of you guys think that the 90s actually had some pretty good music? I do. I mean, I listen to it all, guys. I mean, I listen to some of the older rap. Well, the 90s R&B. Yeah, you've got great bands like Rage Against the Machine and Nirvana and just so many good groups. And I mean, you got Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and they're not necessarily from the 90s, but boy, did they not have some good stuff in the 90s. So, I just like it all. Of quite the connoisseur of music. I like everything, including techno. I mean, I like it all. Now, I may have messed up here. Let's see. Maybe I should have already had this in before I put the back strap on. That might have been a mistake. Yeah, I made a mistake there, and I know I don't have the spring in there yet. But so what we'll do is we will drive that puppy back out. Get that pin out. Get out of here! Get out of here! Don't need no stinking pin in there. It's a terrible accent, huh? Terrible. Wow. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be gunsmiths. I surely don't have a singing career ahead of me. Okay, so we got our spring in there on our slide catch. And we're going to get our back strap out of the way. And now we're going to slide our back strap in, and that will hold that. That'll catch it and hold it. And see, that's where your magazine or your slide catch, the end of the pin is right there. And look at that. That sucker just fits right in now. Now, other than setting the pins like this one here, setting it a little deeper, our lower frame is pretty much done. So we'll set it off to the side here, and I'll get these springs out. We got to do our extractor. Sure is a small spring for an extractor. Make sure we're still filming, and we are. Nothing pisses me off worse than to just be working away and find out that the damn camera's turned off, or I've run out of battery, or run out of space or something. Because then you're faced with the dilemma: do I tear the gun back down and start over? I mean, the point is to make money, right? I mean, I'm not doing it for my health, and so it puts me in a precarious position. And I'm setting this down here to where that pin does not protrude down into the bottom here. See right there? You don't want it to protrude down into that cavity. I'm going to flush it. Alright. Now I'm going to put a touch of wicking grade Loctite. I'll just put a little here onto my dental swab. And this wicking grade Loctite is it's got real high viscosity, so it flows real easy. So you got to watch out for it. You'll waste a whole bunch of it just by tipping it up and letting it go. So there's that. Now we've got our striker spring and our guide rod for it. This puppy's going to go right in there, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll throw some KG10, some Molly dry lube in here. Really good product. goes on, and it'll dry. And it's a good product. It stays with all the parts, and it plays well with other lubes and stuff as well. I mean, the stuff will get in there and blend in with whatever other lubes you're using, and makes for just a good lubricant combination. So that drops in like that. There's a notch there that's got to drop into. We'll slide it on down. So I'll go ahead and throw a little Molly lube on the lower. Now, I'll tell you one thing about this Molly lubricant here is that it is not friendly to your clothes. So, you want to make sure to get any excess wiped off after you cycle it some, especially if it's going to be a carry gun. I know the spring's not in there. I just wanted to see what I was working with there. New spring. We'll twist it on. Okay. Where are we at here? What I'm dealing with is trying to figure out how this all gets hooked in, because we've got to catch that striker. So we put our catch back, put my thing back, flip it in, reverse it. I just cracked myself up on that one. Busted out the Missy Elliott on y'all. You don't know nothing about that shit, man. Damn it. You don't know nothing about that. Alright, so I'm going to take this and see about guiding that puppy down. Because it's got a catch right down there. Okay, got it where it nosedived right down there. I'll put my thumb over that. This is just a convoluted son of a gun. damn gun I've ever seen. That is just beats all I've seen. What a weird gun. Okay. So move that back. Move that guy down. There we go. Golly. That is just too complex. Jeez. So, what I had to do was, after I got it set down there, the trick is you keep this safety, you got to keep it back. So that means when you compress the spring and everything, you can't hold it like that, because this needs to be kept back. And so with that kept back, you get this down on there, and then I was able to take something and push that striker spring down onto this safety. Ridiculous. Okay. So what I've done here, these back panels here are lead or something, an alloy very similar. Very, very soft. I straightened them, and these little tabs here, I straightened them. And the way that these guys work is you glue your grip panels to them, and right here, that tang is what holds them in. So in order to use these and to do this, you put your magazine in, and if your grip safety is depressed, you can't really install your grips. You got to make sure that that is back. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I see, that's basically how it works. And so you slide that in, and voila. So I've never seen this type of setup before. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue these, and the glue that I'm going to use, I use this a whole lot, Loctite Go-To glue. I really like this stuff. It is a good glue, that's for sure. I use it, and then I use some wood glue on a lot of things, but for something like this, where I'm gluing metal to wood, I prefer this go-to glue, and it dries clear, so that is an added bonus. Glue that on there. And I'm going to put this in the vise here and cinch it up a little. I'm hitting the tripod with my vise handle. So I'm going to cinch it down just a little bit. Not real tight. Just a little. Sorry, I'm beating the hell out of the tripod with this. Oh yes, let's reveal the rest of the mess. Rest of the mess that is my shop. Proud of my mess. Alright. So what I'll do is I'll take the other one to a different vise. I've got a number of vices around the shop. And I made sure to get most of the, you know, I didn't care about getting every piece of glue out and away from it, but I wanted to make sure to get any of the clumps, anything that would keep this from sitting flush. I missed getting it out of the hole on this one, so go ahead and get that out of there. I don't know what kind of glue was used prior, but it's pretty sticky stuff. Sticky. The sticky icky. Twin. Sticky icky. Spody fody. Some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about, what I'm saying. Funny stuff. So I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to make sure that I got my poop in a group here. I got everything lined up properly. Yes. Okay. So we're going to take this, I'll put this in the vise. Now remember, this is lead and it's very, very soft. Very, very easy to bend it. And we'll come back once these have set up. Okay, we've got the glue's not cured, but it's set up. And so we're going to start here on this side. Magazine in. Make sure that our clip there will move. And I'm just going to start by sliding this right down on there. I want that to slide right in. And it should snap down. Just like that. Now what I don't know is how well this setup is supposed to hold the damn grips on with the magazine out. Wouldn't that be some shit? If every time you dropped a magazine you lost your grips. So let's see here. I believe that I screwed that up. Oh, that's weird. Looks as if somebody may have had it in backwards at one point in time already. Of course, you know, I couldn't have made a mistake. Yeah, I put this one on backwards. That's alright. We'll pry it on up. And I wonder how I did that. It looks like it's been attached, or like this has slotted in both sides at one point in time. So maybe I just looked at where someone else had previously made a mistake and made the mistake right along behind them. Maybe I just screwed up. That's more likely the problem. But that is another reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this before everything had set up. That way I have the time to correct it. Correctamundo. Alright, so we've got the curve right there. Okay. And there we go. So let's do this again. We'll stick a little glue in there. Well, there we go. A little glue in there, a little glue in there. A little glue all around here. I sound like Beetlejuice, like Michael Keaton. Thank you very much. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just a crackhead. Crackhead! Tyrone Bigsby! Anybody remember that? Tyrone Bigsby. Alright, let it cure and see y'all after a while. Alright, we've got the little Ortgies, or however it is you say it. It's a 32 ACP. And we're going to run 5 rounds through it and just make sure that everything is good on it. There we go. Finished up.